The Headless Horseman gallops the length and breadth of the Manifold Valley, terrifying all who see him. As well as Grindon, he has been seen in or near the villages of Onicote, Butterton and Wetton. The witnesses who saw him near Grindon in the mid-19th century gave a detailed description of the horseman and his mount. The headless man wore shining golden armour which glowed like fire. His flowing cloak, which covered the haunches of the horse, was also gold in colour. He was carrying a short staff in his right hand. His horse was white and appeared to be frozen in a galloping position, with both its fore and hind legs extended. The leekman who saw him at a crossroad near Onicote in 1935 was a little less romantic in his description, stating that it was a man on a horse without a head, an awful gory sight. The farmer, who was returning from Leek 2 centuries earlier, was somewhat the worse for drink and accepted a lift on the man's horse. It wasn't until he mounted behind the stranger that he noticed that his kind helper was headless. The nightmare ride which followed, over heath and moor, through ditches and stone walls, left the foolish farmer so bruised and battered that he died a few days later. Another man from Butterton was riding home when the Headless Horseman joined him, riding alongside. The man's horse trembled with fear and his dog howled in terror. Although the horseman disappeared before they reached the village, both the horse and the dog died the next day. As to the Headless Horseman's identity, there are several versions of the legend to pick from. The most widely quoted is that he is the ghost of a noted warrior chief from the area who was killed in a battle against the Scots far away in North Yorkshire. At the time of his decapitation, he was carrying his studded staff, the emblem of his authority. After his death, his white horse carried his headless body back to his native county, where he still rides through the darkest nights. It is said that if the horseman points his staff at any witness, then this foretells that a catastrophe will happen to a close relative. A more mundane explanation is that the ghost is that of a peddler murdered by savage thieves, who compounded their crime by cutting off the victim's head before setting his headless body to gallop away on his horse as a brutal practical joke. A third version tells how 7 16th century clergymen called out to lay the spirit of the Headless Horseman, reported back that the ghost was one of 4 evil spirits cast out of heaven, to roam over the face of the earth until the crack of doom. This would make him one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, referred to in the book of Revelations. His pale horse would indicate that he was the horseman representing death. Why this legendary figure should restrict himself to patrolling the Manifold Valley is inexplicable.